Howdy, and welcome to Cat Lady Yoga with Regina. Snuggles and Phoebe is behind me on the couch. I, about 8 weeks ago, had a shoulder surgery. It was not rotator cuff and it was not yoga related, for those of you who ask. But I did need to have some repair done, and I was in this sling for 8 weeks. I'm out of it now, but I decided to put it on for tonight's practice just so you can see what you can do post-op. I wouldn't say I didn't do anything for that first month. So those first 4 weeks I didn't, due to the surgery that I had. It could be different depending on what you've had. But after that, those first few weeks when I needed some range of motion, some mobility, and wanted to support my body as it healed, I would bring out my props and do some yoga on the floor. This is what is referred to as yin yoga. It's also restorative yoga in the fact that you're using the props. The difference between yin and restorative is with restorative, you are simply in a place of rest, just letting the body rejuvenate, very soothing for the parasympathetic nervous system. You don't want to feel any stress, stretch, or anything like that. You're simply resting. And you could definitely do that. Yin, at the same time, we are on the floor, we're using the props, but we're looking for a little stress in our connective tissues. And we're not straining, we're not having sharp stabbing or burning pain. If you have any of those, you want to come out of things. But we want to give that connective tissue room to soften and to release. And that's what yin does. And so I'm just going to show you a couple of things that I did, and then you can practice them at your leisure. You can typically hold a yin posture from 3 to 5 minutes is kind of a standard in a regular flowing class, yin class. But that being said, in the training that we go through for yin, there it is possible to hold some poses up to 20 minutes. I wouldn't recommend that for someone who's not regularly practicing and doesn't have an instructor to guide them and answer questions and to keep them safe. But 2 to 3 minutes the first time you're doing it, maybe even just 30 seconds to a minute, really listening to your body, letting your body guide you is where you will find the most reward and the most benefit. And then over time, when you do it again and again, that's when you might hold it a little bit longer and a little bit longer. If the body is starting to scream at you, it's complaining, that's pretty good indication it's time to make some changes. And then we learn to use our breath when we're going in and out of our poses and in the pose. So we're going to start with a shoulder opener, a chest opener. Let me move these props over out of the way. And what I have that I find really works well because it's supportive, it's nice and sturdy, but it's soft and gives, is a pretty stiff blanket. So this is a typical yoga blanket. You could use any blanket you have. You might need multiples. One blanket that I find, or a couple of them that I find that don't work as well, is a cotton, one of those lightweight cotton blankets that are very, have a lot of holes in them. They're not a very tight weave. Those might not be very sturdy. And then the little throws that we often have for the living room that are um, it's kind of a really soft blanket. I don't have one close by, but something similar to this. Right, this kind of, I really don't know what they call this, but this kind of fabric doesn't really, well, this feels like it might get sturdy enough if there was enough fabric to it. So you would just have to check what you have around. You can use multiple pillows. You could use a yoga block if you have it, whatever works. So I'm going to show you. I take it lengthwise. You could take it widthwise, and it comes right behind the heart. So in between your shoulder blades. I recommend that you bend the knees. And if you've had procedure, right? I'm not so it's not such a big deal for me now, but when I was first out of surgery, I needed a prop under that shoulder and that arm. So I'm going to use it on this side just to show y'all. But first, this support comes under the heart space. the arm that had the procedure, I would have this under the shoulder to bring the floor up so that it's not hanging too much, right? So we're wanting to open a little bit, but not too much that it's pulling, especially if you still have fresh incisions. And then you want the crown of your head, the very top of your head, to reach toward the mat, toward the earth beneath you. You don't have to have a yoga mat. If your head does not reach, then you want to bring in whatever props you have to bring the floor to you. This allows the head to be supported so you're not just dangling in space. This will open all of the connective tissue through the throat, into the front of the chest, the front of the shoulders to some degree. Whichever arm you don't have in a sling or has not been through a procedure, you might reach that arm overhead to get into the heart and lung meridians, to get into your underarm, and to create a little more space through the side body. If you do, check, make sure that the arm is supported. So right now, my arm is resting on this pillow. What we want to avoid is just letting the arm dangle in space. And because if it just hangs in space, it's possible that you could end up with a some knots developing as the body is trying to hold the arm, or maybe what's the word I want? A pinch in the nerves, if something got kinked in there. So we really want to protect the body. So we would bend the knees, exhale, roll the spine down, make sure our head is supported, and then come into our breath. And just for the simplicity of what I'm showing you here, I'll keep my arm beside me. And then we want to maybe close the eyes if that feels comfortable, or just let them softly downcast. Bring the inward focus toward the space between your brows so you have a focal point. And then bring your awareness to your breath, just noticing the in breath, letting the heart space expand, the belly expands. And on the exhale, letting the whole front body melt down toward the earth, softening and releasing. And breath by breath, you'll find that the front of the shoulders find a little more space, a little more softening, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, not letting them crawl up toward the ears. And hang out here for 3 to 5 minutes. You can set a timer if you want, or maybe just put on a soft piece of music that has about that time, is about that long, and then you'll know you've been there. When you're ready to come up from here, bend the knees if you don't have them bent. So while you're hanging out for that 3 to 5 minutes, you can take the legs long, or you can take the soles of the feet toward each other, let the knees be out to the side. This is called butterfly or bound angle, depending on which kind of class you're in. And if that's too uncomfortable, you want the legs here, but the knees are needing support, bring in any props you have to support the legs. So just gather up all your loose pillows and blankets, bring them with you, and that way you have what you need close by. When you're ready to come up, bend the knees, plant the feet, gently engage your belly so that it's supporting your low back. Roll the body over to one side, your non surgical side, and press the body up. And that will get you back into your seated posture. When you come up, take a moment and lengthen the legs out in front of you, wiggle through the shoulders, through the hips, pedal out your feet. Good. And then the other one I want to show you tonight is for releasing through the neck. I don't know about you, but I had a lot of tension in my neck and up in the upper back, between the spine and the shoulder. So not really down at the shoulder blade, but above the shoulder blade. And that's the trapezoids, and underneath them are your rhomboids. And so mine was so deep, I think it was actually down in the rhomboids. But you can come into a seated posture, lengthening the spine. You want to bring your pelvis forward. So if it's not, then take either a small pillow or the edge of a blanket, nothing this thick, but maybe, like so, like this thickness, or whatever works for your body. And take the edge of your sitting bones under the edge of your blanket. So, or whatever prop. I'll turn sideways just to show you. You're just taking the edge, right? So that the pelvis tips forward. This will help protect your sacrum, your low back, and put you in a place where you are more comfortable to hang out. And then you can crisscross the legs into easy seat. So we're just releasing into our neck. If you have a block or something like that, you can bring it in the event that you would like to have it. So just finding that place where you're tall in the spine, all the way through crown of head. And then with an exhale, gently guide chin toward chest. Come back to noticing your breath. Take the inward gaze toward that space between your eyebrows. Bring awareness to your jaws, the hinge of the jaws. Let it be soft and slightly parted. And the tongue falls to the floor of the mouth. Breathing with intention, feeling the chest rise as you breathe in and the release down as you exhale. Hang out here for a minute or two. And when you're ready, inhale, bring the chin back up so it's parallel to the mat, to the earth. On an exhale, move your right ear toward your right shoulder. Now, if your left, left arm is not in a sling, it was not the arm that had, or the shoulder that had a procedure, then you can consider petting your cat if your cat is there. And this is our Phoebe girl. You can take your hand onto a prop of some kind if you would like to bring the floor up. If you're comfortable with it, you can just bring the fingers to rest on your earth and then keep the shoulders down. So, what you want to be aware of is you don't want the shoulders to crawl up. Slide them down as if you were putting your shoulder blades in your back pocket. Easy jaw, soft face, tongue on the floor of your mouth. And breathing, breath by breath, releasing all of this tension that gets held in the neck and in the shoulder. Again, just a couple of minutes. When you're ready to come up, use your hand that's free to come to the head and help the head back up. Take a moment, move the head around, and then when you're ready, exhale, taking opposite ear to opposite shoulder. And if this is the side that happens to have the arm in the sling, you can use your exhale and just really think about moving the arm down a little more, creating a little more length through the upper arm and more space through the side of your neck. Checking in, noticing if you might have engaged the jawline or if the brow has become knitted up, contracted, wrinkled. With an exhale, let it release. And then when you're ready, taking whatever free hand you have, inhale, bring the head back to center, release the arm, and then just wiggle and roll through your shoulders as best you can, whatever movement you're allowed in that time. And maybe even draw the shoulders in and then open the shoulders. And if that feels good, if that's comfortable for you and it's not anything you should not be doing, then you can inhale. You can bring a hand to the leg or just down beside you. Root down into your sitting bones, into your legs. Reach the torso forward like you're hinging from your hips, or you are hinging from your hips, and then extend up like you're creating a scoop, right? So inhale, open up. Nice stretch through the chest, lengthening through the neck, keeping the ears away from the shoulders down. When you're ready to exhale, tuck the tailbone round the spine and draw chin toward chest. So it's the opposite direction in your scoop. Inhale, root down, reach forward, lengthen up. Exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, tuck and round. You can do that as many times as you would like. Just flow with your breath. It gives the spine some movement. It feels really good and kind of wakes things up, especially when we are spending so much time either lying in bed, lying on the couch, sitting on the couch. all of that kind of stuff where we're just really stagnant. So this can help get some movement. And then the last one I'm going to offer you is a spinal rotation. You can take it a couple of ways. So if you're more comfortable in a seated posture, you can stay right here, or you can bend a knee and bring it up if that feels good for you. So find what works for you. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, rotate to, let's see, I want you to go to your left first. So you'll take your right side toward your left. And I'm not going to mirror image you here. Well, I could, yeah. So inhale, grow tall, rotate toward your left, and the gaze can stay center or continue in the direction of your shoulder. You may, as you breathe, notice that you hear little pops through the spine as it moves the energy and opens things up. Stay here for 2 to 3 minutes. You'll inhale to float back through your center and exhale, taking second side. And you can bring the hand across the body, let it rest on the leg, and just use that as leverage. And again, 2 or 3 minutes. Another option, if you would like to take this line on your back, let me show you. And this particular one can be really helpful when the bowels become congested from all those pain pills. I'm not guaranteeing that it's the one and only thing you will find beneficial. It might, but it can definitely be helpful. So exhale, roll the spine down, you're flat on your back. And you can even do this lying in bed. Bring your right knee into your chest. Give it a little hug. Move through your ankle, roll it around and wiggle your toes. They're probably getting a little stagnant also. Then move the knee outside of the ribs, hugging it right along the side body. When you're ready to exhale, so you can hold it here for several breaths, you will shift your hips to your right, guide the right leg across so that your right hip stacks on top of your left. I recommend you bring in some props, can be anything that you have. Can be blankets, pillows. If you're lying in bed, it can be several bed pillows. Whatever works for you. Stack the props underneath that right shin, right knee, bringing the right hip on top of the left as best you can. You want both shoulder blades to stay on your surface. And then you can take, if your right arm is not in a sling, is not the procedure arm, you can take it out beside you. You can take it overhead. You can keep your gaze centered toward the sky, or you can even rotate it toward that right side. Hang out here 3 to 5 minutes. Always start with the right leg first because we're working with the intestinal tract. So that's why it can be very helpful. After your 3 to 5 minutes, you'll inhale back to center. Square up your hips and shoulders. This might be a little more challenging on the procedure side. I know it was for me, but I did manage to get some value out of it. So that might be all I need. Guide left knee into the chest. When you're ready, move it outside. So I didn't have my left arm to hold it, so I just did the best I could. Move it out there. Squeeze it into the side as best you can. When you're ready, shift the hips to the left. Exhale, bring left leg across to right side. Yeah, I do need a little more there. Shoulder blades are down. Shoulders are off flat on the mat or on your bed or wherever you're lying. And then you can move the gaze over the left shoulder if that feels right. Again, you might need a little prop, a little pillow of some kind under the arm and shoulder that had the procedure side. Again, holding 3 to 5 minutes. And then when you're ready, float back through center with an inhale, square hips and shoulders, hug both knees to your chest. You can hug them, hug them, hug them. You can let the knees circle the sky. This will help massage your low back. It might be getting a little stiff from lying around. Good. And then when you're ready, you can do that. I did that several times, many nights before going to bed. And you can just lie down and go to sleep or roll to your side and then press the body up slowly. Always wanting to protect our bodies as we get up. So rolling to your side is a little safer way to get up for most people. All right. So those are just a few things that I did in my recovery. Like I said, I'm 8 weeks out, so I don't even have to wear the sling at any time now. But I did want to put it on just for today's practice so I could show you how available these poses were to you, even if you happen to be in a sling. Thanks for stopping. Leave your comments, questions. If you have something else you'd like me to focus on, another surgery you've had, a different body part, reach out, leave that comment, and I'll come back on here and leave some tips for you. All right, stay tuned. There'll be more. We are at 35 subscribers in less than 2 weeks. I'm super, super excited about that. Our goal is to have 100 subscribers within our first month, our first 30 days. And then at that point, we can personalize our web address for our Cat Lady Yoga on YouTube. So we have to have that first. That's our first goal. And when we hit 50, we'll come back on here and provide another Yoga Nidra. There are a couple of them on here already. Those are always well received. They're very soothing and peaceful, and it definitely is something you can do when you're post op. So check those out. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions or anything you want me to focus on, and we will make that happen for you. Share us with your friends, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Regina. Snuggles is on the couch, and Phoebe's wandered off somewhere else. So we'll see you again next time. Bye bye. Oh, namaste and miyamaste. Bye bye. There you are, baby.